Hi everybody, and welcome back to Collecting Canadian Cavalry and Armour. Today we're going to take a look at the badges of the Corps itself. Now the Corps, after the Corps was formed, they adopted a badge that's very similar to the British Tank Corps, or I should say British Tank Regiment, Royal Tank Regiment, with the tank in the middle and the wreath, and we'll show you an example here in a few minutes. The badge was originally adopted as the badge for the Canadian Tank School, and then eventually became the de facto badge of the whole Corps itself. And then eventually, they changed things up and around. So what we're going to do is take a closer look at some of the different patterns of badges, and then some of the other cloth stuff that was used right up until the 1990s, when we started to switch over to the arid cad pad, or I should say the regular tempered cad pad. So let's take a look at the badges. Let's have a quick look at the original cap badges that were worn. You can see that they're made out of white metal. They've got laurel wreath with the Tudor crown, Canada, and the collar badges are the same. Everything was in white metal. You flip it over here so you can see the back. Nice fully struck up. Now you will find several different variations depending on the manufacturer of these badges, but they're fairly common, and you really shouldn't pay more than $15 for these things. Collar badges are sometimes a little bit harder to find, but they make a nice set when you put them together. This in front of us now is you can see the OSD, or Officer Service Dress, collar badges. They are in bronze, like a chocolate brown color. Very nice badges, very nice struck up. They're not an exact duplicate. You can see how this banner is raised more than this one. But on the back, you can see a very nice maker's mark. These officers' ones tend to be solid in the back instead of just die struck, like the other ones were. But very, very nice striking. And I've just paired them up with this. Again, it's just a regular cap badge, but it's got the nice cloth behind it. I do believe that and I may be wrong, but I think that the backing color indicated which squadron that the fellow was attached to. So anyway, here's a good look at some of the officers' OSD collars. Now this is an interesting badge here. You can see that it's supposed to be the same as this one here, which is the badge that was worn. But you can see how it's voided here, and apparently top heavy. You see how it's voided there. We're here. It's still, it hasn't been voided yet. Now, I believe that this was probably taken out of the manufacturing process before it was stamped to be voided. You can see on the back that there was never any of the lugs or the pins or whatever you want to call them here. There was never any attached. So it was probably taken out of the manufacturing process. But still, it makes for a very nice kind of conversation piece within the collection, because you don't usually see them like that. Anyway, kind of neat. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Canadian Armored Vehicle Fighting School cap badge. Was worn, I believe, mostly by officers. Now there is a photo that I have seen of an officer wearing a bi-metal one. So the tank and the banner were in gold, and the rest were in silver. Very nice badge. If there's the only time I've ever seen a photo of photographic evidence that anybody actually wore these things. So we do know that they're very legit. These were worn at the school from about 1944 up until about 1948. Because don't forget, after 48, the badge has changed. You see the very nice officers' service dress collars, are a beautiful matching set on the back. You can see the nice struck up here. On the back of the cap badge, you'll notice that there is a maker's mark, William Scully, along the bottom there. That's important if you're going to pick up these badges. I wouldn't say they're common, but they're a little bit harder to find. You can expect to pay, about $100, $125 for them. But they make a very nice part to your collection, especially if you want to get a complete set of the cap badges. So again, the officer's version here. There are some, like I said, out there with the bi-metal. Very, very hard to find, but if you can get them, latch onto it. So here we have the cap badges, the new design with the mailed fist and the The gauntlet here with RCAC in there for Royal Canadian Armoured Corps. These badges are used from about 48 up until 54 when they switched over the same pattern but with the Queen's Crown. We'll take a look at those in a second. Now, the adoption of this badge is very interesting. You have the mailed fist, which represents the armor part of it, the tanks and the striking ability. And these encircled arrows here represent the classic cavalry move of encircling and cutting off the enemy, so that with the recce and that type of thing, and the lighter tanks, so the heavy stuff can go in and beat the crap out of them. So anyway, so here's the cap and collars. These were universal. The officers wore the same pattern as the other ranks. Sometimes you can find these in silver plate, the collar badges anyway, and they would have screw back instead of the lugs. You notice how these lugs are north and south, where the ones in the back of the hat badge are east-west orientation. And this is just a very nice striking and very, very nice badges. And again, these things aren't horribly expensive, guys. So when you start to buy them, don't I wouldn't pay more than $20 for a set like this. Of course, this is December of 2023. Yeah, I'm living in the past before my knees hurt. Anyway, nice set of little badges. So after 1954, the Queen had been on the throne for a couple of years. They got around to using the St. Edward's or Queen's Crown cap badges. And again, it was exactly the same as the previous pattern, the only change being the crown. And you can see here. Now, the interesting one about this one, if we take a quick look at the front again, sorry to flip it over on you a little quick, you see the crown is a little bit away from the actual cap badge itself. Okay, when you flip it over, you can see here that the original Tudor crown had been taken off and the Queen's crown attached. You don't find these ones often, but when you do pick them up, the rest of them would be completely integrated, like you can see here with the back of the collar badge. So this one's kind of a neat little one because of that feature. Now here we have a bit of an interesting one. We're just going to revert back in time a little bit and go back to the Tudor crown. Now we took a look at this one here, which is done in white metal. Now this one here is in copper, at least appears to be. Both front and back, very nice, exactly the same striking and everything else. Inquiring with some other friends that are even wiser than I in different hat badges, they believe that this one was probably buried at one time, and with the interaction with the chemicals in the earth allowed the copper to seep out, to kind of take over the whole badge. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it's just a prototype strike in copper. I don't know. But it's kind of a neat addition to the collection. You put it in there. Conversation piece. Kind of neat. So these badges are the ones that have been used for the Royal Canadian Armoured Corps since unification. So these ones are the ones that are currently in use. One thing you'll notice is the plate on the bottom of the gauntlet now says Canada on it, where previously it said RCAC. One reason that they changed it is in French, the motto is not RCAC, it's something a little bit different, and my French sucks, so I'm not even going to try it, so that I don't have any of my friends in 12 RBC or Sherbrooke Fusiliers or somebody come and beat the crap out of me for butchering their language. But you'll see that it's a nice bimetal badge. On the back of the collars, we just have the straight pins, and we have the slider on here. This one is not maker mark. Sometimes you'll get them with a maker mark here on the slider. So, like I said, now what you will find sometimes is if a person is posted to the Armored Corps School out in Gagetown, New Brunswick at the Combat Training Center, they will wear one of these collar badges over their right breast pocket to indicate that they're on staff of the school. So that's how you can tell. So here we have the officer's version of the current Royal Canadian Armoured Corps cap badge. You'll see it's a beautiful badge made out of the wire here, and very colorful, very nice on the black background, because the black beret, coveted hat or beret color of the Armored Corps. Unfortunately, the Navy also wears those, but whatever. And don't forget, Essex Regiment tank, first guys to wear the black beret. Just saying, I like to brag those guys up a lot. So this is the new officer's hat badge. You'll see this worn around the school by the commissioned officers quite often. So here we have some very interesting jacket crests that you could have got. You'll see we have Canadian Armored Corps, both a little bit different stylized, kind of similar to the hat badge. You can see the laurel leaves and the tank and the banner, but as you can see, this tank's just a little bit different. So these kind of things are cool. You'll get a little bit different manufactured, different looks on them. Kind of neat. I like this one here because it includes the Royal Canadian Armored Corps, but it's in the style of the Canadian Armored Corps badge. So it's kind of neat. That must be just after the war, during that transition phase. They probably wanted some crests. They knew they were the Royal Canadian Armored Corps, but still didn't have the hat badge and stuff made up yet. So anyway, this one's kind of neat, and it's a very nice part of my collection. I really like it. Let's take a look at a couple of blazer crests. This one is nice. It's the old post-war badge you can see with the Tudor crown here, Royal Canadian Armored Corps. Beautiful gold and silver wire. It's a little bit dirty. I mean, the thing is, over 70 years old. But it's a nice looking one, and you can see it's on the dark blue cloth, for the blazers. Come over here to this one. Now this one is interesting, of course, because you see it says Armour and not Canada that you would get these days. I have one, but it's been kind of tarnished up a little bit, turning a little bit green, so I didn't want to use it yet till I get the thing cleaned up. But anyway, again, a nice blazer crest. This would put it from probably 54-ish, but by the manufacturer it says probably a little bit later, probably late 60s vintage for this one. But again, a beautiful blazer crest here with the gold wire and all the color in it. Very nice. Really like that one in my collection. Now let's take a look at the very coveted sleeve badge that would go on to the in the bottom here. You see the khaki one, so that will go on the khaki uniform, on the battle dress. And we have this one here. I'm not sure if it's British, because we all use the same pattern. Canada, Britain use the same pattern, but it's a little bit smaller. Could be for officers, I really don't know. But this badge was worn on the right sleeve, over top of the rank, and below the shoulder. And it was the coveted badge that indicated that you were a tanker, that you belonged to the Corps, and it was a very exclusive club, and still is. The pattern, you'll find some slight variations in the pattern, but really it's been unchanged since they started using them in the First World War. And these went away, unfortunately, at unification, and so you don't see them. The only time you'll see these now are on the patrol dress or the ceremonial dress of some of the regiments that were the original 6 tank units. So we're talking about the Windsor Regiment, my old regiment, 12 RBC, wears those on their scarlets. And I'm not sure about the Ontario Regiment, the Calgary Regiment, if they're wearing theirs as well. But they would be entitled to wear those as an honor of being one of the first original 6 tank units. The last 2 things we're going to take a look at today are these cap badges for the field cap that was worn with the old combat uniforms just prior to adopting the CAD pattern. You'll see here a cloth rendition of the Royal Canadian Armored Corps badge, again with the Queen's Crown or the St. Edward's Crown. Now this one here came out. I picked this one up in Petawawa back in the late 80s. Again, the same badge, actually a bit nicer weave, but it says Armour on it, and the good old Canadian spelling. I've seen both being worn by the troops in the field, and nice little collection. These ones are a little bit harder to find. Now, I do believe there's a friend of mine, Jason, member of the Sherbrooke Hussars, good regiment, good bunch of guys out there. And he's got the French version that I would love to talk him out of. So Jason, if you're watching this, when you're feeling very generous, look me up. I don't expect it, but thought I'd ask. Anyway, guys, 2 versions of the combat cap badge. Okay, guys, well, I hope you found this episode informative. Much of the information came from Chris Booker's wonderful book on Canadian cap badges. I know we've referred to these many times before, and especially if you watch the episode on reference material, episode number 1. Fabulous books. Chris put a lot of work into here, and the information that you can get is absolutely fantastic. So like I always say, guys, get the reference material. And I hope you liked this episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe. That would help us out. And happy collecting.